Today I uncover everything you need to know about genuine savings, including a number of new ways you can prove how you genuinely saved your savings. So quickly, what is genuine saving? In short, it's a requirement by the bank once you don't have a 20% deposit. Later in this video, we're going to uncover those patterns, but essentially it's the banks wanting to know that you're going to repay the loan, and it's needed as a result of this. So this is a typical method of genuine savings the banks are looking for when completing their checks. So if you're purchasing a house, let's say for $500,000, typically they'll want to see 5% saved up over a prolonged period of time. So in this case, they'd want to see $25,000 saved up over a 3-month period or kept in your account for more than 3 months. Now there's a few things to keep in mind. Firstly, the banks have something called a 1% rule. So we can see here that you've purchased a property for $500,000. One of the things you want to make sure of is that any deposits in the last 3 months will need to be discounted off the savings pattern. So what do I mean by this? So this is an example of someone's savings account, and this is what they've been saving over the last 3 months. So adding it up, we can see they've gone from $1,000 to $1,500 to $750. Now the $7,000 we'll have to talk about in a sec, and in the end they've got $2,250. Now the 1% rule means that this $7,000, because it's over 1%, that's $5,000 of the purchase price, can't be included in your genuine savings pattern. Had this been 3 months prior to today's date, we could include it. However, in this case, because it's within the 3-month period, the 1% rule applies and will need to be removed from your genuine savings pattern. Another way to satisfy the bank's requirement is if you've sold an asset like a car, or if you've got a gift from family. If you keep that in your account for 3 months, that also is considered a genuine savings pattern. Equity is another way around the genuine savings requirement. So if you've recently sold a property, the funds from the sale of the property is considered genuine equity. Another way is if you've refinanced and gotten cash out, that's considered genuine savings. And finally, any money in the redraw facility. The next is your rental history. So providing you've been paying on time every time, this can be used as a savings pattern. Typically, the banks will want to see between a 3 and 6 month period. And the big thing they'll want to see is that you've paid before the period begins. So what do I mean by this? Well, in short, for the banks to consider that you're paying on time every time, it means you'll need to pay before the period begins. What we can see here is that we've got the first rental period between the 1st and 7th. So providing you've made the payment before the 1st, so let's say in this case the 28th, then that's considered an acceptable repayment. If you pay within the period, so with the next example, if you pay on the 10th, which is within the rental period, the bank would consider that a late payment and would mean that potentially your rental history isn't sufficient to satisfy their genuine savings requirement. So be careful of that. Set up your payments a week before to ensure your rental history will come out clean. Another acceptable pattern is the First Home Super Saver scheme. So if you've been putting money away into the scheme, all that money can be considered as genuine savings. And for those of you that aren't aware of what the First Home Super Saver scheme is, it's a scheme designed for first home buyers, which allows you to put more money from your pay into your super. Remember, these are contributions on top of your minimum. And at the moment, the maximum you can put in any one financial year is $15,000, and in total, $30,000 across all years. So a really great scheme if you're a first home buyer and wanting to have a quick and easy way to prove genuine savings. Other acceptable forms of genuine savings include shares, term deposits, bonus. So if you receive bonus in the last 3 months, that also can be considered a form of genuine savings. Things that aren't considered genuine savings, which have hit your account in the last 3 months. So these have to be held in your account for more than 3 months. Inheritance, sale of asset, any grants that you're receiving from the government, any rebates you're receiving from the builder, or any other amounts of money that you've received in bulk. So if you have some money under the mattress and you throw it in your bank account, that'll have to be held in your account for a minimum 3 months. So we talked about all the ways you need to prove your genuine savings, but are there any ways you can get around this requirement? What can we do to not need genuine saving? And there are some ways around this. Each bank has a different criteria, but some banks, if you have a 10% deposit, will mean that you won't need genuine savings. Others will need you to have a 15% deposit. So look around, there are lenders out there. A great mortgage broker will be able to help you find the lender that will allow you to avoid this requirement. Another way is if you're going for a guarantor loan. So a guarantor loan essentially allows you to buy without a 20% deposit and also avoids you having to need this genuine savings requirement. Little disclaimer, there are 1 or 2 lenders out there that will still need it, but by and large, if you're going for a guarantor loan, you can avoid this requirement altogether. And the final way is equity from a property. So if you're already a home buyer, you can use the equity that's already existing in your property. If you also have a land loan, this is another way around it. So essentially, the rise in equity or money in your redraw can be considered a genuine form of savings. So few really cool tips to keep in mind. If you live in Australia and looking for a great mortgage broker, we can help. Visit us online at huntergalloway.com.au or call us on 1300 088 065. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.